We are in Cathedral Gorge State Park, Nevada. And what we're looking at is an old water tower. So we're north of Las Vegas, like 150 miles, somewhere in between there. So anyhow, this was a park back in the, well, still a park, but they built this in the 30s, I believe, or at least they built that water tower in the 30s. And what they did, there's like a dry creek bed over here. But what they did, they pumped water to the top of that water tower, maybe from a well. And then they had pipes. They actually piped it over here to the campground. If you look center of the picture there, you can see our truck and our little truck camper over there. So we're in Cathedral Gorge. So that the water was had a lot of alkali in it. So apparently not the greatest for drinking. So they actually capped it off. They don't use this anymore, obviously, but they preserved it. So I got to think that during the summers, back in the day, this was probably a little cool spot to come hang out, because up here, I think there's some slot canyons, and you walk back in between these things. So even though it would be 110 degrees, they could probably still enjoy themselves here. So this is early December, and it's about 35 degrees right now, but the sun's shining and it feels warmer than that. It's supposed to get up to 60, so it got down like to 20 last night, so our little heater was kicking in a lot, but it was actually pretty toasty. We were comfortable sleeping. The dogs cuddled up, generate some body heat. So this is pretty cool. Cathedral Gorge, Nevada. Still in Cathedral Gorge. We are in some slot canyons. You get stuck in there. So me and Oliver here, there's Oliver, we start walking back in this one here. I point to the ground so you can see how far that is, and as a guide, so let me see if I can do this. If I put my fingers there, however wide my fingers are, it's about that wide. So it's, if I put my foot sideways, so my foot, probably 12 inches, it's like 10 inches right there. I went back in there a little ways, but it gets more narrow. And I got stuck in one of these one time, and see how jagged this is? So I was actually stuck in there. Some people helped drag me through, and I think I might have cracked a rib or two, but this like tore my back up, like somebody like fingernails. So Jody was checking this one out over here. You know, that might actually circle around, come back to the other side. This one here goes back in there. So where I'm at right now, that's probably like 3 feet right there. And I'm going to stick anything 3 feet or wider, because there's not many people here. If I get stuck, it could possibly take a while for help. Let me pop out here. So there's more up here. So another slot canyon. So I don't know whether to keep going back in there or not. I better not. So part of me says, just go a little farther. It's like a cave, but if I go up, it's open at the top. And it's about, somebody can correct me, but it's probably about 80 to 100 feet tall. And when it rains, water comes rushing through here and creates this slot canyon. So I think it keeps going up and around there. Here's Oliver waiting for me. Jody's back there. She's not going for it. So if you see, it's hard to capture. So it's pretty narrow. I could easily get through there. But the thing is, as I get older, and we're in here alone, and this one goes back in there. I don't know if it dead ends there, if it goes around. So these are pretty cool. So where it's wide like this doesn't bother me. When you get up here and it gets super narrow, or like this one here, like once again, that's about as wide as my foot, maybe 12 inches. I don't like those. Those are when I squeeze through and either my shoulders are rubbing or my chest and back is rubbing. That makes me a little nervous. So like even right here, it's pretty narrow. Once again, if I put my hands like this, it's about twice. This is probably about 16 inches maybe. I squeeze through here pretty easy. But so Cathedral Gorge, Nevada. I think this would probably even be doable in the summer if you spend a lot of time just exploring these slot canyons, because they're probably cool in here. And then even when I go up, look up, it's probably shady in here 80-90% of the day, unless the sun's directly overhead. Alright, I'm gonna pop out and go find some more. Here I am again. So this is the third slot canyon we're in. And if you look, I could tell where people have scampered down on their hands and knees, crawled underneath there. You might be able to squeeze up around the top part if you're skinny enough. But yeah, so this would be something that if we didn't have the dogs with us, I don't know about that one. The other one I would have went in, but this one is a little narrow. So these ones, I'm not going back in these very far. I don't know exactly how far they go back in there, but we're just kind of exploring. But they're pretty cool. So this sand, it's almost like concrete. Nice doggies.
It's like dried mud.
Yeah, it's like dried mud. I mean, you could play basketball on this. It's so hard.
Even the snack things are like dried mud.
Yeah. So it's cracking, then it rains. It just breaks away. I'm not chipping it, I'm just feeling it. But it just keeps eroding back farther and farther and farther. I wonder how far it erodes each year. It probably doesn't erode much at all. Probably only rains here maybe, I don't know, 10 times a year maybe. So it probably doesn't erode much. So most of the erosion comes from the water. There's mountains or hills back behind us. The water probably sets in there. The hills behind us look like those hills over there. And then it comes raging through here. Creates the canyons. Alright, let's go find another canyon. Okay, this is like our fourth canyon. This one looks like more my style. Nice and open and wide. I think even Oliver gets nervous. The little skinny ones. So when I come to Nevada and play with the slots, this is the type of slots I like, not the gambling kind that lose your money. So we're not gamblers. We don't mind going to Las Vegas to go to concerts and ride around outside of Las Vegas to take in the shows and stuff. Oh, this continues going. So this goes up a hill. I don't know how Oliver's gonna get stuck. If we can get past that part, we should be good. Oliver, you much fatter. You want to fit through there. Ooh. So that was, Oliver barely fit. So this goes up a pretty steep hill. Alright, we just climbed up. So it looks like it goes up that way. Or down that way. Looks like you can go up in that way. And play around and climb all over. So if you had kids If you had kids, this would be a fun place to come. I can see kids playing around here for hours. Playing with the rattlesnakes and stuff. So you can see where it was like another layer of rock over the years. It settled. So, alright, I'm gonna... It looks like if I stepped here... Look, this looks like it's ready to cave in. It's like hollow there, like a hole. So I guess you better be careful. Fall in there and then nobody's gonna get me. Well, I mean, nobody's gonna get me. Nobody's gonna rescue me. It looks like there's a cave up there. It did say there's caves in here too, but I'm not much for caves. I gotta be careful. There's like holes here, so I don't know if this is hollow under here. So I might. And then there's like a hole there, and one there. So I might get out of here. There's a hole down there, and one right there. Yeah. So I'm gonna get out of here while we're still alive. This slot canyon ended right here, and it looks almost like poured concrete. It goes way up about 75 feet, I would guess. So this one, you know what? I'm glad this ended right here, because when I walk back in these things, I just want to keep going and until check out the very end. So this one's a little bit rougher on the bottom. Chunks of rock and things. Go. Hey, go on, get. So Oliver, he wants to go back and check it out. So this one, if I stand here and put my elbows to my side, it rubs on both sides. So it's probably 3.5 feet, 3 feet. I've never measured how far it is from one elbow to the other if I put them out. So like right here, I know pictures and video don't do, it's probably less than 3 feet if I put a yardstick there. I'm gonna quite fit. So these ones don't bother me. It's the ones that get down about where I'm rubbing on both sides. And if I'm just squeezing through a spot and I'm rubbing on both sides and it's only like a foot in length, like I don't mind squeezing through it. But if it's like a continuous squeeze, I'm not a fan of that. I wouldn't say I'm claustrophobic, but when you get stuck in something, suddenly I become claustrophobic. So I don't know where my travel companion went. She might be stuck in a canyon somewhere. So if you see like the buildings and the white way down there, that's the campground. So this is also a day use area. It's $5 for day use, and it's $20 to camp. And the campground is really nice. It's got heated bathrooms, regular running water. It's got showers. It's got electricity in the campsites. Like I said, it's 20 bucks. We normally don't use electricity when we camp because our battery will run the fan for our little propane heater and everything, and our pump for water. But we actually drain the water out because it's getting down like the 20s. We don't want anything to freeze, so we just bring jugs of water. Works just as fine. Looks like there's another canyon up there, so we'll walk up there and check that out. Well, first I'll walk up around here, see if Jody went. Oliver's pretty good, like, knowing where she went. She went in one canyon, and Oliver here, I didn't know where she went. He went straight for that canyon and went to go up there. He heard her or could smell her or something. Not that she stinks, just that Oliver has a good nose on him. We are in a canyon that they call the Moon Canyons, and I'm looking down this way, and I could fit through there, but I'm not going to try it. It might make a big loop and come around, I don't know. But this is like the walking surface is packed sand.
Go that way. I went back there a little ways.
All right, so this, here we can go left or right. Here, you want to hold the dog?
Why?
All right, I'll come on over.
You can go.
Let's see. She tells me to go through here, but it's like.
You can fit in there.
So it goes. I could fit through there.
You want me to take him?
Yeah. So it's easier. So this is so here I have to walk sideways to fit. And at the bottom where my feet are, turn around. So right there, that's only as wide as my foot. So my foot, one foot in front of the other, and it's a dead end. Yeah, good. All right. Because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to try to, like I said, my foot, if I put my foot down there, you can see how wide it is down there. Pretty narrow down there. And I got, like right here, I got to turn sideways and then skid me through. So this is like, once again, there's my fingers, and then, so this is how wide it is right here. Get back a little bit. So if I put my shoe there, this is about the length of my foot, maybe 12 inches. So I have to, apparently, my head just barely fits through there. And that's the way it did come. So this one's pretty narrow too, but since it's, this doesn't really freak me out since it pops open right beyond that. But here I gotta squeeze. So when I go through down here, I'm kind of rubbing on both sides. If you're over 200 pounds, you might not fit through some of these. And then we pop back out. So there's another one right around the corner. Let me pause it. Well, I'll just keep videoing. Jody must have went to the other one. So it pops out, nice and sunny. So it looks like there's like a, when you walk along this wall, kind of, it goes down. This goes north and south, I think. And it's probably a couple miles long of just like this wall. So you can like walk along this wall and then find these canyons like this one here and pop in. I always like to see if there's footprints too. That lets me know that there's the people. Lets me know that there's other people have been down through here. There's like these things like this. I don't know if there's animals in there. These guys are either nervous or cold or both. They're shivering. So I'll take Oliver. We're the explorers. Keep on walking through this one. So obviously at the ends they're pretty wide, and then they get more narrow as you go down. So one goes back in that way, but it looks like it might dead end. This is starting to narrow. This looks like it's a dead end. I see some footprints. Snakes, and I shouldn't say snakes through here. I paused that for a few minutes so I got. Yeah, so there's a hole back there. I don't know if those are burrows for coyotes and animals and stuff. So this is where that drops down, goes back behind this big rock, and I think I'm gonna stop there. So this one drops down, goes behind a big rock, Jody, So it keeps going back down through there.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Without the dogs, we would go down there, but with the dogs, we're going to pass. Oliver would go down there. So we're going to turn around. There's so many of these, and we haven't been the other direction yet. So we cut across where the campground is, or the campsite. And then Oliver wants to stick his head down every hole that he sees. So we cut across, came across where the campground is, and then we headed south. So we're going to go back to the campground, get a drink, and then we'll walk north and check out the canyons that way. As I'm looking, there's a huge crack going up. So this thing is constantly evolving and changing. Maybe not on a daily basis, but well, yeah, on a daily basis, but not noticeable. But eventually that'd probably crack and fall, cave in, and then, whoa, so there's a big hole there. And so, but that, maybe that's been like that for 500 years, I don't know. Alright. So this one was one of the longer ones I went back so far. And it kept going back farther and farther. I kind of wonder if it looped around, connected to the other one. But I'll have to Google that later. We're still in there. Alright. So there's so many of these slot canyons that I've have chosen not to climb up the ones that look, I won't say sketchy, but anything I might trip and fall on. So this one goes up in there. And I decided not to walk up that one. And I actually think that one goes up. It's hard to see because it's shadowy, but it goes up in there, that one too. So I'm going to skip those ones. Jody continued walking up this way. So I mentioned earlier it's December, early December, and it's probably only 40 degrees right now. And I got this hoodie on, and I'm actually starting to sweat. It might be 50 degrees now. It's supposed to get up low 60s today, which would be perfect. But you walk in those canyons, and it's noticeably cooler, 10-15 degrees. Like I said, the surface is almost like concrete. Nice, easy surface to walk on. Look over, there's like somebody drew a line right across. I don't know if this was underwater at one time and that was kind of a shoreline, or if that's just a new deposit of sediment up there. You obviously can tell different colors as you go up, as it's eroded away. So this might be, it looks like right here it ends. So maybe we'll walk down right to there, a couple hundred feet, 100 yards, a couple hundred yards, and then turn around.